supporting payroll to benefit, recruitment, on and offboarding, and then performance reviews. Is there ever an end to the HR stress? Well, yeah. You need NotchHR. Formerly known as My Salary, NotchHR is the all-in-one HR and people software that puts everything HR at your fingertips. Here are some amazing features at your disposal. Manage your payroll, tax and pension, and allowances with NotchHR. Everything you need to simplify payment all in one place. Find, hire, and onboard your dream team all in one place. Ease transition for employees and the organization with smooth offboarding processes. Easily manage sick, annual, or casual time off applications and approvals. Seamlessly manage employee attendance in real time. Ditch outdated performance review processes and boost your team's performance. Nurture employee growth and cultivate future leaders using our talent management model. Resolve workplace issues and transform them into growth opportunities with grievance and disciplinary from NotchHR. Effortlessly acknowledge and reward your star performance with NotchHR. Streamline training requests, scheduling, and planning from a single platform with learning and development. Give employees access to e-learning courses to learn, grow, and get better at their jobs. Boost communication, document sharing, and streamlined collaboration. Share timely communications with all employees with announcements, polls, and more. And your employees can access a portion of their salary before month end.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. We're sorry for the delay. Uh, Hello, Izzy, if you can you hear me, please? Can everyone hear me, please?
Yes, we can.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So sorry for the delay. We had some technical issues here that we need to resolve. Um, So once again, good afternoon. Thank you all for coming to our LinkedIn Live. Today we're going to be talking about remote, hybrid, or on-site, which is the master of productivity. And I'm sure to see many people here. We're deeply sorry about the delay, and we thank you for joining us today. The way we work is undergoing a massive transformation, and with new models like remote, hybrid, and on-site, basically, or a new work model, but something that people argue for. It's becoming this setup is becoming increasingly common, and this shift presents both exciting opportunities and unique challenges. As leaders, as owners of companies, as employers, we all strive for high-performing teams. And the question for us here today is, how do we optimize team efficiency in this evolving landscape? Now, today, we'd love to hear from you, our audience. Your questions are very, very important to this discourse. We'll also delve into the age-old question: is physical proximity truly the key to unlocking key peak productivity? Now, with that, so buckle up and please get ready to engage. Now, today I have two wonderful and amazing speakers, and it's my honor to actually introduce them, to have them join us today, because this topic is actually something I know they will actually give us more insights on. The first person on the roll call is Dr. Adetutu Gumbi. She has over 50 years experience. She's an accomplished professional who excels in leadership, operations, optimization, and human resource management across diverse industries. She is currently the Chief Operating Officer at AIMP, where she strategically manages internal and external customer experiences, talent development, operations, administrations, and fosters a high engaged workforce. Thank you very much for joining us, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Also,
It's a pleasure.
thank you very much. Also, we have Uwambu Isiakona, and I apologize if I did butcher your surname again. I'm so sorry. Again, very
That's
asking.
okay.
Thank you very much. So, Eze, because I did beg him, I'll call him that for short, is a seasoned human resource professional with over 12 years experience leading people across diverse industries like tech startups, media, and hospitality. Currently, he holds the position as head people and culture at Quick Service restaurant chain, managing over 1,000 employees. And you can see we have a combined experience of over 27 years here today, and I'm pretty sure this course is going to be engaging, exciting, and also it will have to pass a lot of message to people based on this. Now, to begin to start to you today is this. So, what's your stance basically? Now we have to talk about the topic today. So, what's your
We lost you,
stance
I
on
think.
remote work?
I hope this network favors us today because it's going off and on. We lost you. I just hope this network helps. So
Sorry, can you hear me? It seems there's been the network is it's really messed up today. Can you see
I
me now? Can
agree.
you hear me?
Yes,
All
we
right. So
can.
I can hear
okay.
you.
Oh, so sorry. The question I asked was that, what's your stance on remote, hybrid, and on-site work arrangements? I'm sure you have loads of activities where you work with millennials, Gen Zs. I don't want to get into that, but just your overview of what it means to you.
Okay, thank you very much for having me, and it's a pleasure. And I also want to believe network will do a great job to us today. And so this one that you're putting me first is that because ladies first to questions, but it's a great pleasure to be beside Uwabueze, you're a great guy. Nice meeting you, everybody. Hello, online people. Good morning, good afternoon from everywhere you're joining us from. Well, based on my experience as a HR professional for years and also operations and managing operations, happening to manage people at the same time. Basically, before now, I mean, before COVID happened, it's been every day, everybody just believe we have to be in the office. Bosses are wired that as long before your productivity, your deliverables, you have to be physically in the office. But thank God for COVID also, you have to be grateful. COVID happened, and then we realized that it's either you are on site, whether you are not on site, you can still do some deliverables, most deliverables, without even being around. But in terms of, as I think at the time that COVID happened, I was in a manufacturing company managing about, I think, between 400 to 500 staff, and of course, it's a manufacturing company, so we have the blue collar workers, the white collar workers, and all. And now, when it comes to blue collar workers, I mean, it's a manufacturer that does furniture manufacturing company. So when COVID happened, we have branches almost everywhere, and at 13 states. I mean, I think 13 states as at that time, and businesses shut down. But come on, we have to make money, we have to live. Customers are needing our services. How do we go about it? Of course, the first times everybody went home and we started thinking, management, what do we do? What do we Everything will still follow the HR stick. Go, HR, what can we do? And thank God's goodness, everybody started, every company. So, I mean, that's how we can now be working remote anywhere, hybrid started and all. So during that time managing this set of people, at first we actually broke them down into different space. I mean, we have different departments, so we pick age, of course, because most of them are not learning. It was really challenging for me as at that time because they were so scared, covid covid covid. But by the time we provided everything that they needed, and provided transportation means for them to move, go in and come in, we were still able to meet up our deliverables. We were also making sales. We were also, I mean, we didn't break loose at some point. So for me, um, working remotely, either hybrid or on site, it's just all of them is in relation about productivity. And indeed, a pet team is very, very important and is also multifaceted. This conversation that we're having, each work arrangement comes with its own set of advantages, disadvantages. I know there were some people who couldn't do anything because basically their job has to do, but at some point, we all had to now, find a way to make this money, find a way to survive. So we started working from home and what have you not. So it's a matter of course, then you now know staff that are really, it was something new. It was really, really new. So so it caught us unaware. So everybody, we now had to build another process. Hey, this. Of course, we were able to get. So at the end of the day, master productivity requires careful consideration in various factors. So it's about when you're working remotely, you have to be disciplined. You already understand what the company wants to do. You already know your own place. And again, the company culture and technology advancement, those were part of the things that helped us. Of course, we weren't prepared before that time, but when it happened, everybody, solutions started coming. And during that time, mind you, everybody who's been singing about this remote, no remote, people made money. Businesses started springing up, new ones, and they thrived. The hybrid works combines the benefits of remote and site work. All those ones too got introduced. So people now working with Gen Zs. In fact, nowadays they will come to tell you, if you are called them for interview, hello, how many am I? Is it hybrid, remote, or and eventually if you say, okay, we need you on site, no, I can't work 24/7, or I can't work 7 days a week or 5 days, whatever it is you're offering. I want the remote work. But the Gen before them, those ones, it's kind of difficult because they've been doing this thing a long time. So telling them to sit at home and then started, it was okay for them, but it was really difficult for them to absorb the change and then make their life because it's been wired in their mind. It is only when I'm in the office that I'm productive. But right, gradually everybody got to that point where, I think the the age range of my staff as at then was about 50 to, sorry, between 25 to 50. So I had a very elderly person too that we were managing. And by the time we arranged and did scheduling and did every, they realized that okay, they are hands-on. You come as at the time you're supposed to hands-on. Then for the operations, every other person, you give them deadline, they meet their deadline, they meet their deliverables, and so for me, it works. All of them work. All of them is good. Oh, okay, yeah. I forgot the on-site. Of course, I talked about the on-site too. The on-site basically is just that place where people just come to sit down and then they think that's when they realize. But managing all this generation inside one office is hell of work. Because some of the old people are having to manage the Gen Zs or the Gen Alpha, and then there are lots of conflicts. These other older ones are like, you have to come to the office, and then this one is telling you, I'm not coming to the office as far as I'm delivering what you're doing. So that's my take though. Hi, I hope network has not gone. Oh, oh,
Is it? It's okay, no.
are you there?
Yes, I am. I'm so sorry. I think it's a network. I am here. I heard everything you said.
Okay, you're welcome. All right.
Thank, yeah, thank you. It's just a network lag. I think I don't understand. We've switched and switched now, and it's still the same problem we're having. I think Eze is also having issues. Oh, Eze, can you hear me, please? Well, I think he's having issues trying to join. I'm so sorry about that. Yeah, but I did get majority of what you said.
Okay.
On-site, hybrid, and remote. I think the
Mm,
key thing to focus is productivity, and then when it's not, when you don't get the productivity you want from certain persons or certain departments,
mm,
for make sure that you get the best out of it. The thing
exactly.
is, I know someone, I know someone who has an issue with hybrid work. And he'll tell you it's because from his own experience, he'll tell you it's because majority of the people that were doing hybrid didn't perform as to how he wanted them to perform. And when we're in this age where everybody like you got developers who work 3, 4, 5, 6 jobs. Everybody's just trying to make their
Yeah.
money. But then when you
Exactly.
do from his own perspective, right? He said when they do things like that, majority of the time, things that they're supposed to do within a month or two, it goes down
Yeah.
6 months and there's nothing. So he would rather have you on site. He'd rather have you
Yeah.
on site to see you, make sure he knows that okay, you're working. Now, another thing
Yes.
about okay, we have Izzy here. Let's see. Izzy, can you hear me, please?
Welcome back.
You, I can hear you.
Sorry,
I've been
network,
having my
right?
own.
So sorry. I
Yeah.
think it's a general thing. All right. Okay. So just so that we get the same, this just like just a few minutes, please. Your question is the same as Dr. Adetusu that I asked. So, what's your own stance on hybrid, on-site, and remote work arrangements?
Well, thank you, Benjamin. Thank you, Dr. D22. Sorry for the network disruptions. I've had my own fair share of it. Okay, first, I would say we need to be very thankful to COVID for letting us realize that look, work can still go on even if you're
Yes.
not physically present at the office.
Mm-hmm.
So just like Doctor had said before this time, if you told the Nigerian boss that I wanted to work from home, it was
I
very
know.
alien to us. There wasn't that sense of accountability. There wasn't that trust that you could get anything meaningful done from home but hey, we are grateful to COVID that, you know, with COVID came the need for a contingency plan, and most companies went into that mode. And then we realized that, oh, what are we doing here? A lot
Mm-hmm.
could still get done with remote work. And, you know, it now dawned on Nigerian bosses, pardon me, that, you know, you don't need to physically see your employees at work before you get stuff done. What matters isn't that you need to see them to be available, because what's to say that I'm at work and I'm being productive anyway, you know. So for me, I would not say that any of them is superior to the other. Mine is just what controls do you have? What controls do you have to measure productivity? Because I dare say that whatever work style you choose to go with, what matters most is the controls you have put in place to review
Correct.
the goals that have been set. And that's what is more important. For all I care, you can be coming to work, you can even be the last person to leave work. But it's possible that at the end of the day, when the chips are down, what have you brought to the table? All right.
Exactly.
What is the impact on bottom line? That's what matters. So I would say controls is what matters more than one work style being superior to the other.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, the thing about this situation is, like I was mentioning earlier, can you hear me, please? I think we need to do voice check before we start talking. Can you hear me?
You've gone
Yes,
again. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. All
I
right,
can
no
hear
problem.
you. I can hear
All
you.
right. As regards to this, people put certain okay, people put certain things to I don't know, based off probably the way we are in the world today, right? I know someone once said, "Oh, that remote and musically remote is the main reason why people are depressed in this age." That there's something about when you're on site. It was fighting for the case of on site, right? There's something about when you're on site and you have this thing where there's a social meeting, you meet your colleagues, because when you come to the office, the major part of your life you spend them with your colleagues, and you create that bond with them, be that you like them or not, you shall create a bond. And it was like this is part of the reason why people are getting depressed because there's no one to talk to. And from that perspective, from when they said that, I was like, okay, that's something. But I don't think depression can be as a result of not seeing your colleagues. There are so many other reasons, but it was just giving that as his own reasons. But I think just to summarize what both of you have said, the rights to place to either you want to go hybrid, want to go remote, or even on site. The right tool to check, okay, have you been productive enough? Is actually very, very because you can't just say everybody should do hybrid and there's no measurement, there's no way to know if your team is being productive. And you can't say they should come to the office. They can just sit on their laptop all day, be watching or streaming something, and then you won't know anything. You understand? So no problem. So we'll turn the tables now. So guys, this is your own question. From your own business point of view, right? As you know, as your pata at Booker Hut, these three options that we've listed, right? Which of them is which is best and cost saving? Hybrid, remote, or on-site? Which is best and cost saving? Now we need to look in. Now, if you, I don't know, but if you want to go into that with the current economic changes that we are having in this country, I don't know. There seems to you have to put one up for the other. But please, your answer.
Thank you, Benjamin. And again, let me do my voice check. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, good. So, like I said, right, there isn't a superior work style that supersedes the other. Again, what would define one over the other, one being superior over the other, would be the goals the company wishes to achieve. So if the goal is to, reduce costs, or collaboration, you constant need to collaborate on projects, or the need for engagement. Sure, you may want to choose one over the other. But for me personally, I am convinced that not one singular work pattern is superior to the other. What is important would be, what controls do we have? What barometer do we have to check the results that are coming from each? And I think companies should be very flexible to say, hey, look, this is not our stand on this pattern of work. They should be fluid enough to say, hey, let us check this. Let's go remote. And if we see that, remote is not working, we are not delivering on the expectations, then they should be free to say, hey, let us try hybrid. But again, what's more important is there should be clear expectations of what we need to achieve. All right. And then when there's clear communication of what needs to achieve and the means to measure task, whatever suits the company it should be tried out. But there should be constant review to make sure that look, the company is not suffering, the employees are not suffering too. Because we can say, okay, fine, it's glaring that remote work appears to be cost saving, isn't it? After all, the employee is not spending money on transportation, the company is not spending money on utility bills. But if there is no control to make sure that your employees are working, the company is going to suffer much more loss. I don't know if you get that fact. The company is going to make much more loss because at the end of the day, nobody is productive. There's no control to check who is working. So the loss, you may think you're saving costs by employees not coming to work, or from the employer not paying utility bills, or saving costs from utility bills. But at the end of the day, because there's no control, you can't measure what staff are doing, and there's no control. At the end of the day, there's nothing that brings impact on bottom line, and so the company is living. That's a far bigger cost to bear. So, like I said earlier, what's important is what is the control we are putting in place to measure each of these work patterns or work style. I hope I've been able to answer that question.
Yes, you have actually. You again, mic check. Can you hear me?
We constantly need to do this. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you actually gave nice pointers as to which is actually the best, and it depends on. At the end of the day, productivity is key. How much you need to know how your employees are functioning in terms of the growth of the company. So if you want all your staff to not come to your office, if you want them to come to the office, whatever mode, as long as the company is moving forward, right? And you need to, like you said, you need to checkmate to know what works and what doesn't work. So you refine, and there's always a review. I think that's a good way to actually look at it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, Dr. Adetutu, if you can hear me.
Can you hear
Can
me?
you hear? Yes, I can hear you. Thank you for coming back.
Okay, yeah. So
Thank
I
you.
was saying that in addition to what he said, right,
Oh,
you
okay.
will realize that after since the introduction of hybrid, remote, and on-site, companies are now focused on
Yes.
productivity, not activity, and then deliverables, and not appraisal. So it has taken performance management now is likely is very on the high side. So every organization right now, yes, remote is beautiful. Before now, I mean, employers thought activities were that productivity and that making those deliverables. But now it is very clearing. And somebody can come in one day and finish all the work they come for 30 days to do. In other words, they come in one day and finish all their work for the month. And then the next is just favorites. They're just playing around. Then you will now see that companies are more performance driven now, deliverables delivering now other than any other thing. So it's a great turn of events for us, if you ask me. It's really a great turn. So you know you have a target. And again, company culture too matters. A company
True.
culture that is very well done. An employee will be excited. An employee would happily, do that product, make sure I meet up with my deliverables. And then of course I'm performing well. Why? Because whatever it is you're doing nowadays, you are seeing it yourself. And when you are giving your reports, you did your variances, you realize that I'm not doing well. So nobody's winching you, or nobody is witch hunting you. You are not doing your job. You just know you're not doing your job.
True. 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 Thank you. Thank you very much. You gave some hard lines there. Productivity, not activity, deliverables, not appraisal. And in truth, in this age and time, everyone is performance driven.
Yes,
Basically what do you bring to the table now is like a key thing. You need to bring something to this table
exactly.
before any of your requests as well. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for adding that. So now my next question to you, since you started off, how can companies maintain a strong, I know you mentioned company culture. How can companies maintain a strong company culture and foster a sense of belonging when teams are spread out geographically?
Okay, so I by God's grace, I think I managed 13 branches across, like the branches, the number of people have 13 branches, and that's Abuja, Kaduna, two in different places in Kano, Kaduna, Lagos, Ibadan, Abuja. So now, okay, to put a background to what I'm going to say, as prior to my time of joining the organization, it was structureless. It doesn't have culture. It just there, produce, get money, and go. And then a company is making profit, sell, and that's it. There was no culture. There's nothing like, so that's to tell you that um by the time I was joined, it was like I was on a blank sheet. So I have to now come up with things that will make the company be known and people will want to work. And prior to the time I joined, you don't even have confidence in the work. Like you don't even know whether you'll be fired that day. Remember, I said that most of them are blue collar workers, and even the sales reps at some point. I mean, they can just fire you because you did not smile well, or because so. I started changing things. Now, I started by going into the employee shoes, getting to understand them and find out. So you realize their grievances, right? What did I end up doing? I started creating different cultures. I started from their uniforms, from them even listening to me and believing that the organization is for them and not against them. And organization understands that we appreciate you. Team bonding activities. This one is still physical prior to COVID. So we started bonding. There was this bonding that now eventually happened across board, as at that time geographical location wasn't our problem. Now when COVID okay, now we now have birthday celebrations. I mean, when we are on the whether Abuja is celebrating birthday, we had various beautiful activities happening that everybody now felt belonged. Now, because they felt belonged, by the time COVID now happened, and then we came up with, you will have to do X, you have to do Y. Of course, majority of people don't use systems before. Now, for the sales reps, for example, I introduced something about commission or number of, so the appraisal was that about how do you make customer feel? How did you attend? So each person was now being appraised based on their relationship. and how many times returning customers came and asked after a particular person, you know. And eventually, when COVID now happened, we had a team bonding activity, very beautiful one, virtually. We had football, we had, so we bonded. Now, all the different online games, we had coffee chats, we build relationship. It was now beyond, you are the Oga and I'm the Omoshe. It was a very beautiful thing. We recognized achievements, staff of the month, XYZ did this. I mean, he made sales of this. They were, it's for me, that went a long way, because I celebrate every single milestone. For the person who has probably not made sales, or for my even my blue collar workers, all of them get celebrated. I probably have 5 or 10 people. Okay, so there is let me say for furniture now, you have the upholstery, you have the carpentry, you have the skeleton, you have all the different variables put together. There's somebody in there that is always being appreciated for one thing. So for them, it was a life-changing thing. They never saw those, they never felt those. And by the time they started, COVID now happened. It was I didn't need to beg. I didn't need to say I wasn't scared that, oh, how are they going to even, these people that are before, they will probably wake up and choose not to come, and when they want to come, they're coming. But by the time they now felt belonged, communication and collaboration came in, and you listen to them, they listen to you across all my branches. So it was an amazing time when it was now COVID period. So when you tell this person you're working today from home, and of course that period I didn't really have any tools apart from, okay, these are the things you're supposed to deliver, and whoever is for the sales rep, how many people you were able to attend to, how the showroom, how everything, every they were doing all those things. They took it as personal responsibility. Nobody was hiding under anybody's shadow, because you come after judgment day, it's only me and you now, so you're not going to be putting it on somebody else. And then when COVID now happened, people started using system. Now tell me how somebody who have not used was not used to using the computer was that, this one happened. So we did training virtually. Of course, virtual was very new to everybody, but they learned. So you see that learning process too was a very great achievement for them. Like, oh, when I was working with XYZ, I started using computer. You know, to them it was something very big and very encouraging. So we had an
Sure.
open dialogue and provided opportunities across team collaboration for further strengthening our connection and aligning with the company's value, right? So
Okay.
for me, maintaining company a very good culture and a sense of belonging in any organization, trust me, if rain is falling and they know that, oh, and of course I started giving tea. I said there were stuff that I did. It went a long way. It may just cost me a penny, but it went a long way that they don't. I think, hey, I think I introduced even I did is it over time or some, if you finish XYZ number of sofa, maybe in 2 or 3 days or whatever time frame, and you're able to achieve this as the entire team is, you guys are getting this. It was a great thing. So when virtual remote, they were doing well.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. That's that, I like the fact that it came from a personal point of view, not just what you've implemented, where you're
Mm-hmm.
from. And also, I know of a company that whenever they're having like a team bonding, like a general team bonding, because they've got staff in some states, they pay for their flights to come
Mm-hmm.
down to Lagos. Everybody be in a hall or something. They go to the beach, and when they give them
Oh,
rooms, they give
I
them
forgot
rooms.
to add something. So when we now had our physical team bonding,
Yeah.
right? The first one ever in the organization, I cut costs too. I didn't fly anybody down. But when it was time, all the Lagos people, we had mainland and island. There was a way, even Ikweja, Abuja, all of them across wherever they are. I set the same time. Everybody is going the
Yeah.
same day. Everybody is being managed by, so the activities were lined up. So as people in Lagos were having their fun, people in Abuja, all the locations were having their fun. And we told them, as you are doing it, be sending pictures. Let's know what's up. You need to say our WhatsApp group there. It became so active.
True,
So
true, true.
everybody had fun at the same time. And it also helped me in a way that nobody is saying, because I am in Abuja, that's why they went on hold.
Yes. Yeah.
And because I am in Ibadan, I said go and look for the best place in Ibadan. You may not have Omu Resort. Is it Omu Resort? Yes, I think it's Omu Resort. You don't have Omu Resort in, or maybe a bar beach in Ibadan. But there's a recreation center that has plenty things
Go
that you guys can
relax.
enjoy yourself in.
True,
Go
true.
and get there. Send us pictures. Everybody was so excited on just one day in 13 different locations.
That's
And
key.
I cut
That's
cost.
very
I didn't
key.
bring everybody online. Just imagine bringing, I think outside Lagos were about 250, or I think 250 there about. Bringing all those people by plane is not a joke. So we had the same fun, moved on the same budget, had the same menu across board because it went through survey. Come, which what do you want to? What don't you want to eat? Everything went like that. So everybody got carried along at the same time, and I did not have to now fight whether I'm treating somebody special than themselves. I
Or
didn't have
not.
that.
Yeah, I think that's very key because I was going to make note of what you just said. Same thing they did. Some they do like for the quarterly team bonding. Whatever state
Yeah,
you're in, those people they just gather, go to a certain place, have fun, take pictures
exactly.
and send to the group. That's what they do. So yeah, having a
Mhm.
good company culture it helps because irrespective of
Yes,
the
a
location
lot,
your staff are,
a lot.
they will key into it. They know, oh, this is how we
Mhm.
are, this is who we are, and that's how we behave. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter where we are, if we're in the north, anywhere, same thing, you're going to enjoy it. I think that's very key. So, Mr. Eze, the next question is for you. And so it says that, what leadership strategies are essential for effectively managing remote, hybrid, and on site teams? I know as a leader, you get to deal with different people and different temperaments and different viewpoints. And it's different when you're seeing the person, and it's another thing when you're not seeing the person, having that conversation. Also making sure that the way you sound or how they sound, the tone is not somehow like, are you talking to me in this manner, or are they receiving it in that manner? Knowing fully you're dealing with like there's generational gap, you're dealing with so many
yeah,
people. So I know somebody that his team lead told her that, oh, I don't like the way you talk during like a meeting, and this girl, it was just mails back and forth that, oh, she's not been treated well in the company, all because of what our team lead said. I don't like the way you talk. I don't know the context which on how she spoke, but it was a long tail back and forth, trying to just resolve everything. So again, what are the leadership strategies that are essential based on these work models that we've been talking about?
Okay, thank you so much, Ben. Doctor, I'm really enjoying and getting a lot of ideas from, from what
you
you've
are
been
going
saying.
to pay for consultancy.
Oh, send me the invoice. All right. So cost, right? I think what's very, very important in each of these models that any company will choose to go for is they need there's it's very important for us to identify and let's understand expectation. So let's clear expectation. What is required from you? All right. Um, Ben, you're on my team. What is expected of you to deliver? And just like what I said earlier, we need to be very, very sure that what constitutes performance metrics in our companies are not activities, but core deliverables that affect bottom lines. So whatever these things are, those are clear expectations in which I expect from Dakbo. I expect from Benjamin. All right. So if there is a clear expectation of what I'm supposed to deliver this week, and I, being your line manager, you also understand my expectations, then it's clear. All right. We both have understanding of what is expected of us, and there's accountability. So what happens after that is we agree on review times. Okay, this is what we are coming to the table in 3 days' time, and this is the understanding of what you're supposed to have delivered after the third day. There is because you also don't want to make sure that you are micromanaging and you're all over people. So whatever generation you are, I'm sure that nobody likes to be micromanaged. So we want to make sure that these expectations are clear. Two, with that comes with communication. You want to make sure that we are clearly communicating what is expected. All right, and then there's accountability. There's also the need for emotional intelligence. Look, whether we like it or not, an employee who has said he is going to work remotely is going to be distracted. We cannot take that away. All right, because I will say, oh, I want to work remotely, I want to work hybrid, I want to just focus, sit at my office at home and focus on work. But chances are that I'm likely to be distracted. And you know, you can say, oh, there's going to be discipline, there's need for discipline, and you know when to call, set boundaries. But hey, it's possible that there will be an emergency. So how do I, as a line manager, need to be emotionally balanced and emotionally fair to my employee to understand that, oh, look, um, this guy is working remotely. There's need for, one or two outliers, but then he's back to it, and not the fact that, oh, I'm calling, and you didn't pick, and I'm getting enraged by it. So I think there's need. So in some, what I'm saying is there's need for clear communication. There's need for accountability. There's need for, emotional maturity and emotional intelligence in managing people. So I think that this is these are very important factors that we need to consider as leadership strategies in managing people remotely or whatever work styles we choose.
Yes. To also add to what you said, yeah, half of the time, this COVID, all things working together for good according to the holy books, right? There are some certain things that before now, nobody ever thought about, nobody talked about. And it was just a normal thing, for we Nigerians anyway. I don't know about Africa as a whole, but at least we Nigeria. So
Mhm,
you can be having as minor as a menstrual cramp, or you're having as a woman, or you're having ovulation, and then it comes with different things, and then you have to go to the office, manage that, manage the stress of doing your job. There's this mental health part that nobody has ever addressed. Or maybe it's a wife that had challenge in the house, and had to come to the office too disorganized, not disorganized in terms that they cannot do what they ought to do, but
mhm,
today, to the betterment of our human society, we have mental health now. Everybody in organizations are busy talking about mental health. Emotional
mhm,
intelligence now became a national anthem. You know, no, it's the truth. Because without
mhm,
emotion,
mhm,
it's through the emotional intelligence that you realize that this person is acting in a way. And because I am the line manager, I am the HR, I'm supposed to act in another way, just so that you don't add pepper onto injury. And then, the
mhm,
person could just want to commit suicide because he or she just think the whole world as at that period is against them. So it's brought working hybrid, working remotely, working on site. The whole there's a whole lot of change. There's a whole lot of recognition about, oh, okay, this person is not performing. Of course, in the office, you did not even perform, they will shout, you collect query almost immediately. But now, before you even get to the
mhm,
query, you are being asked, is everything okay? Are you all right? Is there a challenge? And maybe the person just needed to talk. I do. In fact, in my house, in my in my office, you will be talking to different people in different languages. I had less fights because when some of them come to the office with pepper body, they are already aggravated. They are already upset. They become so cranky that somebody else good morning is like a thorn in their flesh at that period, and the fight has started. The fight that they would have fought in the house or on the road, they bring it to the office. So emotional intelligence is one great strategy that has worked and that has kept employees in balance. Like they felt, oh, somebody cares, at that period. Then adding to the people, the communication. Communication has increased now. And not just to communicate, you communicate for them to listen, to understand, and everybody is on the same page. So it has that communication and collaboration belongs adding. You are a part of me. You are not just everybody now knows that. Oh, okay. So even if, and of course, the productivity already is going to tell you whether you yourself you're doing well or not. So it's not going. By the time I put all these strategies in point, you're not going to say this HR does not like my face, or does not like where I'm coming from, or how I dress, or because I have big car than him or her. That's why he's
True.
wage hunting me. No, you can see it by yourself. You have all the support from the organization, even if it is just the HR doing her own thing. You have the support from the organization. And I've had to address issues like talking to wives because husband was not doing his job in the office because there was a wife problem or there's a child problem. So getting them feeling that own, like I don't know how to describe, like I am you. I mean, I am there for you, goes a
Yeah.
mhm,
very long. So if an organizational structure includes all these petty strategies in their culture, you will be seeing that even if I'm sleeping and I know I'm supposed to do this, you will wake up and you are there.
Thank you
Thank
guys very much. This has been very, very, very helpful. Emotional intelligence is key. You need to understand your people. You need to make sure that you make them feel like you are one, you're a community. I know people now they do not like we're family because they say they'll tell you we're families and then they do things that your family members can't do to you in the office. I know I've heard lots of people. Yeah, people say that a lot. That please don't say we're family. I beg because they say that washed for way too long. So as we were talking, we got a question, and I don't know if the person was just excited to ask this question, but let me just read it. So I don't know who's going to answer, but let me just read it. It says that some people believe face-to-face interaction sparks creativity and innovation. Can remote and hybrid teams achieve the same level of collaborative brainstorming, or do on-site environments hold an inherent advantage?
you.
So, Mr. Isaac, do you have anything to say to that? Like,
I would typically like to agree with the person who asked that question, because there's something about seeing somebody before you, and not necessarily need to reach out to technology, because technology has its flaws. Look
true,
at us talking, trying to have just a simple, webinar, and then we are struggling with technology. You know, I have something, a question to ask. I need to pick your brain, and there's just something very convenient about reaching out to the person next to you and say, "Hey, what do you think?" Without resorting to technology, which is
true,
not
true,
dependable. So as much as we have a lot of collaborative tools that would aid, exchange of ideas, big problem in this country. I think a
Yes.
month, I think last month, or was it last 2 months, we had a technical blackout. Like everybody was affected, and we're like, oh, so we didn't know our lives depended so much on technology or
On
on data.
technology.
true,
So
true,
it's as much as, yes, we want to hype the need for remote work systems, hybrid work systems, and collaboration. There's still that need to speak to somebody, and of course, if there's a need to speak to somebody and you need to reach out to people, technology also hinders the length of time you want to do that, because of you're concerned about the costs. You're concerned about the cost it will take for you to go over and over. But hey, if you are someone in the office, you guys can talk as much as you can, as long as you are satisfied that, oh, you've gotten all the solutions or all the feedback that is necessary. But with technology, you're also concerned about costs. So I hope I've been able to.
true. No, that's a very, very good response to that. So I know we still have some. We just have a few minutes to wrap up because of time. We don't want to delay people. So I know this has been very exciting. So please, if you have your questions, can just drop them and we'll answer shortly. So Dr. Adetutu, this next question is for you. Now, we said that performance is key, productivity, no activity. So this question kind of falls in that line. So it says, is it possible for companies to fairly measure and evaluate employee performance across different arrangements? Yes or no, and why?
When you say
So it,
different arrangement, what does that mean?
I think
Very
different work
different work style.
arrangements, on-site, hybrid, and remote. So
So
it's
if it's
asking.
possible to evaluate them,
Yeah, to
their
to to
performance.
fairly yes, to fairly measure and evaluate performance, employer performance across those work models. Yes or no, and why?
Either yes or no. There's still a why. Okay. No, I like to get my questions clear.
Yeah,
Okay, so
just briefly, please. Yeah,
I will say that appraisals before now was generic, a 360-degree something. But where you have a performance system in place, it is not about the activity written in your job descriptions that is
true,
going to be evaluated. It is the results, the achievements that you were able to do from those job description that will be evaluated. So, for example, I'm a sales girl. I'm supposed to attend to 100 clients in 1 hour. That's the job description. So, no, that's the target rather. Then the description say you welcome them, you smile, you find made inquiries, you take them around. All those activities has not made one of those clients buying what you need to buy, meeting up that target. So it's going to be more like that 100 client, how and how you are able to, it may not be what is written in black and white, but how you were able to successfully convert a prospect into becoming a client, and not just a client, but a returning client, and also referring you. That is your performance. So yes, you can have the same thing across the on-site, across hybrid, sorry, yes, on-site, hybrid, or remote. It is not based on activity, and it's not based on a job description. It's the result from the job description, the
True,
achievement
true.
from the job description. So with that, across board, you of course you would be able to evaluate everybody fairly. And you yourself, there's this thing about personal achievement for me. And for me to happy that, oh, this is what I was told to do. For my example, in my years in experience with MTN, I was a primary call center person, just talking to people outside Igbo, and then I was moved to um, um, servicing platinum clients, that's high-end clients from a particular range to a particular range. But along the line, I realized that majority of my calls started coming in French, because I do speak French, and some of them were Togolese. So they keep calling and calling. Of course, there's a record. And you see this person has been calling back to back to back. What has it? So by the time they got to me, the way the person was talking, I was like, is there any other language that you understand? The person would say, yes, I speak Eve or I speak French. And then I start speaking French. That was not part of my job description. But my target was to resolve his query
True, true.
and then get him to be happy and not call again.
That's
And
all.
before you know it, we now had modern European language way back. Because in my report, I said this person cannot speak English, this person can speak French. And before you realize, of course, you're sending those reports to your manager. Manager, we now formed a hub called Modern European Language. It has Spanish, we had French, we had German. That was way back in 2007. 2007, 8, thereabout. So that's how I started, adding my own. And of course, whether I don't know whether performance went high, but for me, I was well achieved that this person didn't call back again. And they were always happy. And at some point, as much as clients were, when they call, they're asking of they want to talk to Adetutu, and there are 1,000 Adetutus in MCA that's at that time. So, so that's what I'm saying. Performance is achievement driven, is target driven, deliverables driven, not activity driven. Thank you. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you very much. You actually did answer very well, and you expanded on it. Thank you about what you said about doing well above your job description. I think that's a very key thing. How can you get that results from what you even
Exactly.
told to do? I think that's a very key thing. So as we were talking, we had another question, and let me read it out. It says, this person says, how can an employee convince his or her boss or HR to do hybrid or remote work, considering the fact that they are meeting their deliverables? So how can you convince? I'm guessing this is a system where they basically do on site. So they're trying to ask the question how they can convince their boss or
You
their
can't convince.
HR.
You can't convince an organization. Remember, the hybrid, remote, and hybrid. It depends on what your company is into. Like for example, my Nwabueze's office, they cook. I can't cook hybrid. I have to be in the kitchen.
True, true, true. Some may argue that you
So
can use rider to when you
you
cook in your house
understand?
and deliver.
So the only person, for example, those people that are hands on,
On
what I'm
true.
able to do is come
Okay,
up with a
shift
shift
on.
system. And of course, comparing the evaluation inflation matter in Nigeria today, I'm not wicked. I'm human. I know you transport, and I want your health. I want you to be fine to perform for me. So I cannot tell you you can go 100% hybrid. So person manufacturing soap, All the manufacturing companies, Cook and all those, there are some certain organizations that can never go hybrid. They
Hybrid.
can't.
Security service.
Ah,
Security
thank
service.
you. Very good. How do you hybrid that one? As a doctor, how do you, even doctor self, as lab scientists, can you hybrid it? You can't. But what I can do is to help you adjust your timing to be a bit more flexible. So then,
Flexible.
instead of
Yeah.
you working maybe 5 days a week, I could apply restructure the human power and put a shift in check. So at least you are on some days and then you are off on some days working from the home. Of course, not cooking it from the house anyway. So those are practical. I'm a very practical person. I tell you how it is.
No,
So
that's
there are
very
some
valid.
things that you cannot, there are some things you cannot hybrid. You want to do operation, you want to operation in hybrid. How?
You do teams meeting operation.
So there are some
Actually,
key organization that will not fully go hybrid, not remote, but has to be on site because of what you do. So you have to understand that. And your organization, they are not wicked. Even though if they are, I don't know. I can't tell you what culture you guys have. But if you are able to do a proper case with backing up solutions, they are going to reconsider your plea and say, okay, you can do this. But if you are holding a key office, it cannot be hybrid. A doctor can never work hybrid, but they
true.
can go
True.
off and resume. A nurse cannot work hybrid. They can go off and resume, work 72 hours or whatever hours, and then you go. Then a cook, you have to be in the kitchen. Somebody selling pepper and tomato cannot hybrid.
Yeah.
You have to go to the market, buy the pepper, put it in nylon because you have to use your hands. Somebody who is blending or making bread cannot work hybrid. You cannot put the flour in the
Hybrid.
virtual.
Yeah.
this- so there are some very practical businesses. It's not because they are wicked or they do not hear your plea. It's because the nature of their business does not give them the opportunity to. But what they can do is to help you make your work a bit more flexible. You will be on site on some days and you can't don't be on site. For me, because of this different inflation, making the work schedule flexible for them pays me. Because I've increased when in the hospital, I increased salaries when there was that first, is it fuel scarcity or I can't remember the very first challenge that we had. Was it fuel? I can't remember
And
now,
there
but there was a
was it the
what?
cash issue?
So I'll say that again.
Was it the when we had the cashless problem when there
I
was no
think both
cash?
the cashless or the cashless. No, I didn't increase salary then. There's something that affected staff recently. I don't know why.
Fuel. I
I
think it's
increased
fuel.
I think it's in fuel. Yes, when they
Yeah.
increased fuel, transportation increased. So the
Yes.
person
Yes.
I'm paying 30,000 had to come to office every day, and I know that 30,000 with the rate of fuel
Hmm.
has increased. I can't increase. I mean, I can't stop you from coming to work. I need you. Okay, I did a 20% raise for everybody. I didn't do it the first time. The fuel was increased twice. The first
Yes.
time, I did not do anything. But the second one, thank God I was patient enough. I waited and I increased it then that I'm not going to. Then I now created a work schedule to balance it for those working 3 days before, 2 days or a day. I gave them to work 2 days. No, okay, sorry, it's the first one. When the increment was the first time, I increased salaries. The second one, I did not increase salary. I readjusted their rotas to
Okay.
fit in.
Yeah.
I'm a company. As your fuel is increasing for transport, I'm paying diesel, 1,000
True.
something per liter.
That's
So the
true.
only thing
That's
I was
true.
able to do is flex to change their schedule to be able to fit in. You are not complaining, no come to me for increment. At least I've tried. I've increased your salary, yes. I've considered you, yes. I've changed your schedule to be able to spend less of transport. So do you want to give me more than that one? No.
I think you've done your best in my own opinion. Like you said earlier, time was not in our favor today because of network.
uh
So we've come to the end. But before I let the both of you go, just like your final remarks as regards this or on-site, remote, hybrid, and for people to maybe, like you said earlier, when people come for job openings, they ask, "Oh, is it on-site, remote?" And people already have this feeling that they can't work in the office, so they can't do hybrid, rather remote. So, and if there are organizations who don't offer that, it becomes a problem because you reject it, which in turn
mm,
makes you, if you don't have a job, makes you jobless because you're looking for a remote job. But in everything that we said, just your final remarks as regards on-site, remote, and hybrid for employers. You know,
Yeah.
for employers to like not force this, make this happen, something in that line. So I'll start with you, Eze. Your final remarks as regards what we've talked about today, please.
Thank you, Ben. So my final shots or my parting words will be this. If your industry permits it, I would advise most businesses to explore the idea of remote work.
Okay.
All right. So even if you are doing on-site at the moment, just explore with the opportunity of hybrid. If you're doing hybrid, explore the opportunity of remote if your industry permits it. And why is this necessary? See, every company needs to have a contingency plan, and the contingency
Yeah.
plan spells out, oh, what if something, what if there's a civil arrest, and we are
Mm.
so used to the on-site method. How then do we measure our activity? How then do we measure our performance? So it will be good to see how your company will strive in that order. Now,
Mm.
if your company is such that you can work remotely, or you can work remote, yeah, if your company is such that you can work remotely, but they are still insisting that, hey, you must work, you must come to work every day. What I can advise, all right, is speak to the decision maker and let come to a roundtable. I believe that most employers should be reasonable enough to discuss numbers. Speak to them. Oh, look, I was doing maybe I was doing 5,000 naira, for instance. I was doing 5,000 naira when I was coming to work as results. Can you permit me to work hybrid? And I promise that I would be able to deliver on 10,000 naira. A reasonable employer will want to look at that, and say, okay, how would that work? What needs would you need? What items will you require for you to be able to achieve this? And if it's feasible, I think companies should be flexible enough to try out other work styles and not be stiff or hell bent on site or hybrid. That'll be my parting shots.
Okay. So am I to talk?
Just give your final or your
Oh, okay,
parting words.
fine. Okay, just like one Moise has said, yes, you cannot just start working in an organization where they don't even know you yet and you don't know them and expect them to give you a hybrid or remote work. You have to prove yourself that you deserve one. Again, productivity matters. The organization is not ready to waste money. I know of people who work hybrid and all they care about is them. Oh, no, leave them there, they'll be fine. Then month to end, they'll pay my salary. It doesn't work like that. And the reasonable organization is going to make sure that they know you, they know what you can do. Because in front of them in the office, they can see how committed you are to the job. They will. As one boy has said, this. I'm coming from Ikotu to VI, I'm coming from Bada, you are working with Fed before you start asking for hybrid. Then if you choose not to want to work, you won't blame the organization. Then maybe you now have to go in search of companies that really just want people to work remotely and not just any kind one.
All right. Thank
Equip
you. Thank you
yourself, be
very
ready
much.
to deliver. Yeah, that's for me.
Thank you very much. This has been very, very, very insightful. I want to appreciate the both of you basically for coming in. I know I've had to do some dilly dallying to make sure this was possible. And thank you, Dr. Adetutu. Let me thank you specially. Let me thank you specially for being here. Thank you very much. Again, please, we had a discussion prior to today, so please I'll be needing that thing from you. Okay, you already sent me yourself. Okay, I'll be needing yours too. So thank you also for joining. I really appreciate, and I'll see you guys next time. Please stay safe.
All right, bye.
Thank you. Cheers.
Imagine spending your workday on what truly matters instead of drowning in payroll paperwork. With NotchHR payroll and payments, say goodbye to weeks of processing and hello to minutes of automation. Join over 2,000 companies who trust NotchHR for their payroll needs. Get everything you need, from historical data to budgeting and payments, all in one convenient place. Stop wasting time on manual calculations and automate allowances like leave, medical claims, and more. NotchHR handles tax filings and pension calculations automatically. Empower your employees and streamline payroll with dedicated HR wallets for instant payments and real-time financial visibility. Enjoy complete transparency and data security with detailed records and no risk of loss. Flexible and simple. Designed to meet all your needs. Don't let payroll hold you back. Automate, simplify, and focus on what matters with NotchHR. Sign up today and experience the NotchHR difference. From sorting payroll to benefits, recruitment, on and offboarding, and then performance reviews, is there ever an end to the HR stress? Well, yes. You need NotchHR. Formerly known